Hi, I'm Dave White. I'm your host today, and it's my pleasure to interview Dr. Maxwell C. King. Dr. King, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
You know, one of the things that has struck me about this is that the current generation of students know your name through the Performing Arts Center, but they don't know you, of course.
Well, when you get up my age, they're bound to be a lot younger, but I know a lot about the college, and in fact, I remember I was in Fort Pierce when Brevard Community College first started, Brevard Junior College, and I started Indian River Junior, now Indian River State College down there, and got brave and got lured up here by the Space Center to head up Brevard Community College.
And at that time, I remember that you were the youngest community college president in the country in Indian River.
That's true, and then later I became the oldest in the country.
Well, the Performing Arts Center, I think, is certainly something that we should be remembering about you. How did that come about?
Well, it's interesting. I was making a speech over in Cocoa Beach at a women's club, and came to time for questions and answers, and one of the ladies stood up and says, well, Dr. King, we go to Orlando to the Carr Auditorium, why don't we have a Performing Arts Center here? Mm-hmm. And I got the idea from her, and then I went to the county commission for some money to build a center, and they said it's a great idea, but we don't have any money. I went to a couple of cities, and the school board, they all thought it was a great idea, but no money. And finally, I went to Clark Maxwell Jr., who was a state senator, and said, Clark, we need to build a Performing Arts Center here at Brevard Community College. Mm-hmm. And so he was able to get our $11 million to build the building originally. Mm-hmm. And that was just the beginning of the story. Mm-hmm. Before that, we had some productions we'd bring into what's now the Simpkins Center. And we had a number of outstanding entertainers that would come in. And of course, that only seat 550 people, and realized that wasn't big enough to bring in the large groups that we thought should be able to service this community.
And you were actually at the King Center, was it last night?
Last night to see the Smothers Brothers. They were great.
So it's a continuing pleasure to have in our community. We don't have to drive distances.
One thing that you haven't asked, but I want to tell you anyhow, when we got the money to build the building, we knew that we could not be using college funds to operate a center like that, because it's very expensive to operate. Mm-hmm. So we had to build an endowment. So I'd never done much in fundraising, but I did go to see a Harris Corporation head, Mr. Jack Hartley, who was very helpful, and I asked Jack if he could give us $1 million for an endowment. And he thought about it for a minute. He said, I'm sorry, Max, we can only give you $500,000. So, but that was the first step toward the endowment. And since then it's grown, and it allows the director to book shows and then guarantee that the bills are going to be paid, because it can't come from college funds. It's got to come from the endowment. And I think they're doing very well. I know they've had some up years and down years. Right now it's kind of down. But they have that endowment in place that will allow them to book the outstanding shows of Broadway in the U.S. and bring them here for our citizens to view.
And that's a critical element, to have the money behind you in order to make it able to present.
Absolutely. They couldn't sign a contract if they weren't sure they were going to be able to pay the bills.
Very good.
Not like our government, which signs contracts and they're not able to pay the bills sometimes.
Now, there's another function of the community college that you're still involved with. I think that's the foundation.
Well, I help where I can in helping raise money. I know Joe Williams has been working with the President's Club, and we were able to have an event that I think they may have something like $65,000, 65 members of the President's Club now, which is a good contribution to the foundation that allows them to give scholarships to students and books and so forth for students that need help. And it's vital. But again, today, in today's financial market, it's kind of slow in raising money for foundations. I'm involved in a number of different groups that are out raising money, and it's kind of tough right now, but it'll get better, I hope.
Now, in the 30 years that you were president of the college, I'm sure you had many ideas. One of them I know firsthand, that I met with you about the swimming pool that now exists at the BCC Palm Bay campus, in which I was advocating for, and you chimed right in, and we both thought it was a good idea.
Well, it was. There was a lot of, I do believe still in fitness of all of our citizens, and the young people as well as the older ones. And swimming is a wonderful exercise. And having that pool on campus is good for the students, good for the community to come in, the recreation department at Palm Bay. And it's very helpful, and I just believe in the fitness of our community. The pool has been great. Athletics, you know, whether it's golf or basketball or softball or volleyball or tennis, whatever it is, can be helpful to students throughout their lives.
Absolutely. The thing that bothered me about not having a pool in Palm Bay is all the water that exists in Florida in this area, and the possibility of people drowning, and there's not the opportunity for the instruction, but now that's there. So I'm pleased to look back on that and your role, and my encouragement basically is what it amounted to.